glad you could join me today and watch and learn some fabulous recipes for a festive meal. My name is Irena Hentea, and this is the Irena Hentea's Kitchen show, and I have some festive stuff for you today. So first off, this beautiful wreath is a kitchen theme, and I want to showcase it. This was made by Kale Oxenbein from the Bolton Historical Society. And this will kick us off on some fabulous dishes, and you'll see we'll even feature those colors. So the first thing that I'm going to be making is the dessert. That will be the first thing that will go in the oven. I'm going to be doing some baked apples with maple syrup and cinnamon. Then I will also be making some cauliflower. I was so excited. I got people who wrote me, I watched your first show. I love the baked cauliflower. What else could I make with cauliflower? So awesome. So we're gonna do a fabulous easy dessert, easy dish with cauliflower, and we're gonna use some rosemary and a really cool secret ingredient, which is some spiced honey. And we have a fabulous salad, and it's going to be kale, pomegranate, and cucumber. And we're going to use Meyer lemons to make the vinaigrette. And what am I going to make for a meat? It's going to be steak tips today. So welcome. The whole point of this is going to be to make something very quick, very easy, almost effortless. So the first thing we're gonna do is prep the apples because they're gonna go in the oven, and I've already started the oven. I started at 400 degrees just to warm it up, but you can do it at 350 if you've got more time. That's a good thing, but 400 will work as well. The first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna take the apple and you're going to cut a round circle right over here so you can remove that. And basically what you want to do, and then you go again deeper inside because you want to remove some of the, okay, it's kind of breaking. Do not worry about it. But you want to remove this portion here. There we go. So you see we got all of this out. All right. Now, I'm going to use maple syrup and a touch of cinnamon. And I'm going to put the apples in a pan. I'm going to heat this up because I want to bake all of this pretty quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and start my pan. So that's going to be hot when it's going in the oven. And I am using aluminum foil to put it in the pan. So each apple will go individually like this and cover it. The only reason I'm heating this up is just so it's got on the bottom heat as well as I put it in. You could put them in just with the aluminum foil without a pan, but it's going to make it easier for you when you take it out. Now, I'm going to use a touch of cinnamon. So what I'm going to use is just a little bit, a knife, just a butter knife, and just a touch of that, and add that to it. And then 1/4 of a teaspoon of maple syrup. So not too much, just a touch. And there you go. So it will just add a touch of flavor. You don't want to like overpower the apples. And that is it. Now, you have this portion which has the seeds, which you don't want. But this little cap just goes right back in. Now, you're going to close it in like this. Put it in the pan. The pan is nice and hot. I can remove it. And do the rest of the apples and put them in the oven. So now we're going to do the cauliflower dish. I have a whole cauliflower here, and I'm going to boil it in water really quick. I already started my water, and I'm going to put some salt in. As you do remember, I love this Maldon salt. It's British. You can find it in Westford at British Delights. It's a wonderful store. And here we go with the cauliflower. I always cut the cauliflower by going halfway through it that way initially. And then I'm going to be removing the green part. You could use the green parts for something else. In this case, I have an organic cauliflower, so it's easy to set it aside for something different. Now, I am boiling it, so this time around, instead of cutting it like this, the way I did for baking, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just break it off. Just use your hands. It comes off pretty easily. This one's kind of big. I'm going to break it off just a tiny bit. And these are going to get tossed with the honey and with some rosemary. So here we go. It's really simple. There's no right or wrong in here, and you don't have to have the, this one's a little bigger, so I'm going to just go ahead and break it off. Now, I have this portion here that's, so there we go. We have these. And they're basically for like a serving will be something like a little bit like this. All right, so they're going to get tossed in. And I'm not going to leave them in for very long. Now I have, let's see here. So I'm going to leave, they're just going to go in for just a tiny bit. With cauliflower, you can even eat it raw. You can make a salad of it that way, and maybe I'll do it next time. But you just start it out in the water. Now, the next thing I am going to do is take my rosemary, and remember, I love the shears. So I'm going to come right over here, cut a little bit of it this way. Now, this pan is not actually hot or anything. I'm just using it to move the cauliflower back into it. So, and then I have the honey. What I'm going to use is, if you have somebody who doesn't like hot, then don't use a lot. You can just use half a teaspoon, but a quarter of a teaspoon. Start out with a quarter teaspoon and then try it first. See if it's too hot for you. It's always better. I'm going to use two quarter teaspoons. So that's half a teaspoon, but it's easier to just measure it that way. All right, so I think the cauliflower is all set. It was in there. It's really a short amount of time in the water, and it will cook a little bit longer because I'm not moving it under hot water, not hot water, cold water. So I'm just moving it right over this way, and you can see this, it's really easy. Okay, and then toss it right over here. You're gonna have the honey. I think I moved a little too much water in, but that's okay. I can drain a bit of it. And I'm going to do, I can turn off my boiling water. I'm going to add a little more salt, and I am going to add a bit of pepper to this. And this looks just beautiful. And you can see the rosemary. So I want to tell you a little bit about the honey. This is called Sweet Fire, and it got a great story. It's honey that has hot, I don't know if it's jalapenos or whatever peppers, some concoction of peppers, but it's really hot and it's just wonderful. It just, it does a lot of flavor, and this is really great because cauliflower is a very bland vegetable, so you can spice it up in this case. So for the salad that we're going to make today, we're going to have such awesome colors. We're going to have the red from the pomegranate, and we're going to have cucumber. This is a large English cucumber, and we're going to do kale. So I have awesome kale, and again, we're so lucky to have farms, and Springbrook Farm in Littleton grows kale, and they have an awesome availability of it. So this is what I do. I take it off. You just use your hands for that, and you start on it. And I'll do the rest of this. Now I want to show you what I do with a cucumber. Instead of using a peeler, I will use a knife. I first cut it in half to make it easier, cut at the end. And then you want to really be somewhat generous. You don't want to cut just the top because this part will be somewhat bitter. So I go ahead and cut fairly close, fairly deeper in for the cucumber. And when I do chop the cucumber, I want to show you that as well. I like to keep it for this salad fairly thick. You can always do a cucumber salad that is, like for example, you can do very thin slices, but for this salad, again, I really like the thicker cut. All right, so that's going to be going for that. And then I have the pomegranate, and you don't need a lot of seeds, a lot of pomegranate seeds, so you can use it for other things. And just open it up, and we're gonna use probably just half of it. I think for the amount of kale that we have and the cucumber, half of it. So now we're ready to make the kale salad. So I have taken the kale off those stalks. We don't want to use those. And really, this is like perfect. As you take them off, you kind of have perfect bite-sized pieces. I have a pot of water here, and it's heated, but it's not boiling. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in the water for a very brief amount of time. So again, it's not boiling, and I want to show you. So when you have just plain kale like this, it's a bit harder to eat, even as a salad. So it's going in, and literally, I'm going to just leave it in the water as I'm talking to you. So it's just a couple of seconds. And I want to show you how in the water it turns this beautiful green. I want to move it out right away. So I have it in a colander. And I am going to run it through some cold water because I don't want it to keep cooking. With the cauliflower, I didn't mind if once I took it out of the water, it kept cooking. But with the kale here, I don't want it to turn into something a little bit different. So now I am ready to do the salad dressing. So I am going to use a lemon, and in this case, I'm using a Meyer lemon. I'm not going to use balsamic vinegar because the cucumbers, I don't want them to turn a different color than this beautiful green that they have. So if you use a balsamic vinegar, it will really pretty much like dye it a different color. So I'm going to use half a lemon, and I'm going to use this. Their Meyer lemons are a little bit different. They're milder. You can use a regular lemon too, but you can see it squeezes the juice really, really easily. All right, so I have half a lemon in here, and I'm going to use some salt and pepper over here as well. And then, let's see, I have some olive oil. Now, for the olive oil, I'm just going to do 1, 2, 3 swirls. I'm going to toss in the kale, and you can see it's cold right now. I had run it through cold water. And then the cucumbers go in here. The salad dressing is at the bottom. And I am not going to put the pomegranates until I serve it. So all of this is ready, and I can do a quick toss because it will be nice. The cucumbers will release quite a bit of water as well. And then again, add the pomegranates right at the end as you're serving. But let's add a couple of them so it gives you an idea of what it will look like. And that is incredible. So here we go. Let's see. So just the colors itself is so festive and just beautiful. So there you go. You've got the kale, cucumber, and pomegranate salad. Just absolutely gorgeous on any festive table. I took the apples out of the oven and let's see how it turned out. Oh my goodness, this is just wonderful. Look at this. And with its little cap, and it's got the maple syrup and the cinnamon in there. And let's see. Oh, this is just amazing. Now, what I love to serve these is with a little bit of a cookie. In this case, I have these Greek cookies that are just wonderful. I didn't make them. I did get them. They're contact me and I'll let you know where you can get some. And this is really nice because they are nice and crispy, and you're going to have the softer apples, so it's wonderful to serve them alongside. You can also serve them with whipped cream or with ice cream, your favorite kind of ice cream, but this will make a very easy and wonderful dessert. So now we are ready to make the steak. So I'm heating up a cast iron pan right here. These are really, really awesome. I'm putting a little bit of oil, and as I've talked to you before, I love this sunflower oil. Now, this has gone really hot, so I'm gonna move it over. And I have a pound of steak tips. I'm gonna make just one of them to show you. The important thing when you do this is to always, when you put it in the pan, don't overcrowd it. All right, now I'm gonna salt it. So I'm gonna salt it generously on both sides. And I'm going to pepper also. There we go. All right, so here it goes in the pan. Now I can move it back on there. You always wanna be careful. Don't put it so hot that it's just, all it's gonna do is burn. All right, so let's see how this is doing. And leave it in here. It's not gonna take for very long. And I wanna talk to you also about the rosemary that I used with the cauliflower. This is rosemary from Harper's Farm in Lancaster. If you've never been there, I encourage you to go. They just have a ton of wonderful vegetables. Does it need more oil? I don't think so. But always have your oil nearby, just in case. It's always better to add a little more oil than be in doubt. One of the things that I was talking to you about was the apples and how wonderful it is. Now, we are in December, so no more apple picking, but it's just such a fun activity and something that we have loved doing through the years, and we're so lucky to have so many farms nearby that you can go. And all right, so this is still sizzling. The nice thing with steak tips is that you don't have to have a grill. You can do it inside the house, and it should work out pretty good. Now let's see how it's doing. It's oftentimes dependent on your stove and the heat that's coming. So you do want to stay nearby. While you're cooking your steak tips, you don't want to be busy taking a phone call or something else, because you just want to pay attention to it. And it's not going to take long. So let's see. All right, you can see it's cooking, but not quite. So I'm going to leave it a little longer in there. And just check it. And again, you don't want to, I'm just tilting it to make sure the oil is still underneath it. You don't want it to overcrowd. So you're not going to fill it up, because what's going to happen when you do that is a lot of juices are going to come out, and instead of getting it like this, you're going to get kind of like a boiled steak, and I don't think you want boiled steak. All right, so that looks really, really awesome on there. All right, so now we're cooking the other side. And with steak, you do have people who wanted medium, who wanted rare, and who wanted well done. So in terms of that, what I'd say is you got to just, it is a preference. We usually kind of make it a medium, and that's kind of what I usually go for at our house. But again, different people have different things. This is such a great meal though, with steak and a salad and a cauliflower, and then you end it with apples. It really goes incredibly well. All right, so we can see it's kind of burning a little bit. Now what you can do with the steak tips, you can also cook the other sides really quick. That won't take very long. Then on this side, actually I think on this side I'm going to go back to it a little bit. You see, I'm checking for oil. You're not letting your meat swim in oil, so you only have a little bit. I think at some point I may want to add a little touch. There we go. It's just a little touch. And then you can see I've also gotten this one really nice and brown. I'm doing it on the other side. I think this is it. So we got a wonderful, wonderful steak tips that you made. This is about half a pound in this one, and I'm gonna make the second one as well. So we have gotten it all together. We have the steak tips with the cauliflower with rosemary and fire honey, and we have a great salad of kale, cucumbers, and pomegranate, and we have baked apples and koulourakia, the Greek cookies. We have a beautiful wreath again from the Bolton Historical Society. And I'm so glad you could join me today. I hope that a lot of these things that we did today are gonna help you in your kitchen make a festive meal. I'd love to hear from you. My name is Irena Hentea, and my email is irena@irenarealtygroup.com. And enjoy it. If you have questions, if you have certain things that you'd like to see for the next shows, I'd love to hear that too. And remember, you can make a meal really easily. It's healthy, almost effortless. You don't need to worry about it. If something doesn't go quite right, keep going. This is a great thing to share with the loved ones in your family, and I am so happy that you could join me.